Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat. Today we are watercoloring, of course, since it is Watercolor Wednesday. We're going to do something a little different. Instead of like a picture, we're going to attempt to make some kind of fall fodder, which I know is super popular and loads of people have done it. This is not my idea. People like Willa Wanders on Instagram and many other people. So I don't know exactly how they do theirs. I've just seen photographs like on Pinterest or Instagram or wherever. So I'm just going to do how I want to do it, and we'll see what we get. So I hope you join me. So I just have my large, what is this one, 16 round, and I don't know what's stuck on it. That's a little disturbing. I took my paintbrushes outside yesterday and sat outside because it was so hot. These dried in like 2 milliseconds. But these are all watercolored, and then I just like doodled around them. The red and the yellow dots are alcohol ink, so that wasn't watercolored, but anyway. And then that one, I think I got them all upside down. Not that it really matters, but they were so fun to just sit there and do doodly, you know, kind of like the reverse coloring book thing I did with the, what was it, violet and cornflower blue, and then I put those into my journal, which, I don't know, right now. All right, and then I did just some green, and these are kind of like bubbles, whatever, circles, just playing around. And that was on regular copy paper, which of course does not work fantastically because it's so thin, but for doing like background pages for junk journals, I kind of feel like it's the only way, because like this is a super cheap watercolor paper that I think is hot pressed because it's really smooth, but it'll work great for this, and it'll give me a little bit of thickness because they're going to kind of be like fussy cuts when they're done. But it's not like super duper thick like the cold pressed 140-pound watercolor paper, and I don't even know what the pound weight is on this paper. I just got it on Amazon. It's just cheap like kid watercolor paper basically, so it's nothing spectacular. But I think it will work fine. It does wrinkle up and stuff, but I'm not that worried about it, because basically what we're going to do is just put color on these, and then we're going to cut them out. So that's what I'm going to do first, is put some color on this. I'm going to spray it a little bit, because we're just going to kind of, see, it's already going root. We're just going to kind of play around with color. Let me spray my watercolors. That would be good. Oh, and I got gifted. I was given this lovely set of watercolors. Thank you, thank you, thank you to Robin. Thank you, Robin. She gifted me that, so that was very nice of her to do. Loads of colors, lots of metallics, lots of just colors, and you can see I used them just while I was doing those paintings. So I can also probably tell you colors a little bit. I haven't swatched them all, but at least maybe I can look if I think there's something you guys need. I didn't get that far, but anyways. All right, so I'm gonna just kind of start maybe with some green, and we're just gonna play. And we're just gonna put a little bit of color here and a little bit of color there. I'm gonna actually go ahead and squirt the whole thing, just to have the water on there. And they'll come out, you know, different colors. We're just getting some color on here. It's not like anything you really have to think hard about. This is a super fun thing you could do, like if you have a spot in your living room or something where you could put out a little tray and then just sit and do these kind of backgroundy things. Like I said, I was out on our patio having a good old time. Then it got too hot and I couldn't even think straight. I tried to go back to it after I had lunch and stuff, and I was like, I can't, it's so hot out here. It was pushing 100 yesterday, and I just turned into a puddle of goo. And it's been rainy and yucky. Well, I don't want to say yucky. It's kind of nice when it rains, but so it's humid. And you know, I've talked about humid before. Humid and I are not best friends. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm just putting color. I'm really thinking about it. And these colors don't have to go together. This is kind of like doing collage masterboards. Just think of collage masterboards when you're doing this, because you actually want as many colors as you can get. Because if you think about when you do your collage masterboards and then you cut them up, and there's all different little bits that you get, right? Once you cut it up, they make like their own little vignettes almost. And so that's sort of the way this hopefully will be. You know, it kind of is going to give you a little bit of this color, a little bit of that color, a swirl of this, whatever. And it'll give you interest. So that is the reason for doing things like this. You can do this however you like to do it. If you want to do whole sheets of one color, go for it. If you want to do, you know, littler spots of color, that works. However you want to do it, just think of a collage masterboard, because that's kind of what we're going for. We just want lots of interesting colors. Textures will come later when we add some. This is a metallic. It's kind of a rose gold color. But textures will come when we add doodles later, because that's what we're also going to do to these. So, I mean, you might want to put sort of complementary colors next to each other. Like you can see I'm sort of doing that. I don't know that those two are great, but they aren't bad. Just so that you don't end up with something like really hideous looking. Which, you know, it happens. But a lot of colors will be great for like, I can't tell if this is, sorry, I haven't figured these all out. And I am clearly not even looking at my little color chart thing, because I'm not very good at all that. And some of the colors will bleed into each other, others won't, because this is really cheap paper. If you have good paper, but then you're back to the thickness issue. So I don't know, it's just kind of a dilemma when you're doing this kind of stuff. When you're doing watercolors for the sake of watercolors, you're not going to run into this problem, because you're going to want a really good paper that, you know, lays nice and flat. The color moves around on appropriately, all that. But when we're doing junk journals, it's very tricky, because we run this constant line of, I don't want it too thick. Other times you're like, I need something thicker, not so thin. So it's just, I don't know, it's just something you're always dealing with. So it's always something to think about with that. Color is, I think I used, I think this is this. Yes, it is. Let's see. This is more of a coppery metallic. I sprayed them all, but some definitely aren't very. And I'm just slopping, you know, because I do want some strokes in there. Like, I like to see some of that, especially when it comes to cutting it up. I think that that will make it more interesting. And I'm trying to kind of think of colors that are in the Watercolor Forest digital download, simply because some of these I'm gonna do leaves and mushrooms and stuff like that, and I want it to go together. You know, I want it to go with that digital, or at least look like it could go with it. If you get what I'm saying. So really just have fun with it. Just slop some colors down, because like I said, we're cutting it up. So It's not like if you go, ooh, that looks awful together. Well, just when you cut it apart, don't worry about that part, you know? Or that made a horrible color when those two colors came together, or whatever. It's not a big deal. And I just have one jar of dirty water and one jar of clean water, like I do a lot. That works the best for me, I find. Now I'm going to start making mud right here if I mess with that anymore, so I need to move away from that area. I don't really want mud. Do you notice the one color I don't have on here? Well, I mean, there's lots. There's black and all that, but orange. I'm going to add some orange right now. I don't know what my thing is with orange, people. Because a lot of times I use it and I'm like, oh, yeah, that doesn't look bad. I don't know what my thing is with orange. I think it's because, like, I cannot wear orange because of my skin tone. Like, it's just, it's not good. Shouldn't do it. I can wear, like, a peach. Like, in fact, today I'm kind of wearing a peachy color. And that's fine. But orange is a no for me. And when we go to football games for my daughter's college, the colors are literally like cone orange. And I keep picking the same green. Traffic cone orange and royal blue. So I was like, okay, well, I'll be wearing royal blue or white. Like white, royal blue, and orange. Because I cannot pull off that orange. And they have like some days where you're supposed to wear like one color, and so they of course have the orange day, and it's like, sorry, I'll wear a white shirt with orange on it, but that's as good as it's gonna get because I just can't do it. It's so bad, so bad. But I know there's people that look great in it. It's, you know, looks awesome on them. I'm not that person. All right, so basically then, if you want to, you could do some splatters on here just to add a little more interest. The only problem is it's probably going to bleed into it right now, but we'll just do a little. This wasn't a good choice, and I knew that when I was doing it. Let's choose a different brush. Oh, I thought that was black. It's much more of a green. There's black. I can't get it now. Can't get it with that brush. That brush is a fan brush. That doesn't work. Oh, this is also green. There we go. I just think the black will be a good sort of universally good color to use. See, some of it's going to just completely fade away. So really the trick is wait until that first layer dries, then splatter. And another thing you might want to think about is using colors that aren't like super duper saturated, like as in really dark, because if you want to doodle, you want your doodles to show up, right? So this may end up being too dark, but these will dry lighter. So I will be right back. Okay, I am back. These dried lovely. They did not get a whole lot lighter. So I do like these watercolors very much. Thank you, Robin. And I will leave a link in the description box below this video for that set of watercolors on Amazon. They come with some, you know, water brushes, a couple regular brushes. There's some watercolor paper in here. And then And I don't see where the brand name is on these, but anyhow, I will leave it in the description box. You get some brushes. My brushes came a little frayed, and so one way to help that is if you put them in hot water, the bristles in hot water. This one's still kind of crazy, but they will, you can get them to lay flat again or straighten back out. But it comes with these nice water brushes. These are awesome to take, like if you're going to go outside or like on a hike or something and you want to do a little quick watercolor while you're out. These type of brushes are great because they don't take up a lot of room, but they hold the water. So anyhow, very nice, and a nice pencil there. So thank you, and I will link that, so if you guys are interested. All right, so we have this all done. You can do this several ways. You could, as you've seen me do before, just start cutting out mushrooms, like the tops and the bottoms, like I did with the master boards, or you can use stencils. I just made these stencils this morning thinking it might be easier to have stencils if you want some uniformity. If you don't, just grab your scissors and go at it. Or you can draw the item first and then just fussy cut it out like you would any fussy cut item. The nice part about having a stencil, again, is the uniformity. You can use like these smaller leaves to go with like this leaf if you want some that are smaller. You don't have to use the stem. I included it, but you know, you don't have to use it. What else was I going to say? I don't know. These are very basic stencils. Like I said, they're in my shop because we're going to be doodling and stuff. So I didn't do like a lot of the stencils I've done in the past where there's the lines or the veins of the leaf, because these are simply meant for kind of this fodder look. Of course, you can use them for whatever you want, but that's why they're so simple. So like, for example, you could use them on just regular scrapbook paper. Like if there's a scrapbook paper design you like, you could use them for that. Or I was also thinking the watercolors that come with my Watercolor Forest digital. There's some just watercolor background pages. You could even use those. So if you don't feel like watercoloring and all that, and you have that kit, you could do that. So essentially what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and start with our little acorn here. I'm trying to think what parts I want. I'm going to do a little bit of the red, and don't, like, I could come over here and do the blue and purple. Totally. Like, so you don't have to, if you want to do it a little bit more interesting, you can do that. And you don't have to do, I did these separately so that you don't have to do the same colors. Like I could do this for the bottom and I could come over here and do a yellow top. So that's why I did it that way. So you do you when you do these. You can make them as colorful, fabulous, realistic, not realistic, however. So I tend to do things the more realist way, and that's just because that's the way my brain works. But you do them how you want to do them. It's like I may make some pink and purple ones just because I think they would be super fun, especially when you get some doodles on them. Like you could Zentangle doodle, and that would be fun. I just did this stencil because I thought, excuse me, I'm like losing my voice. I thought that some people might like that, you know, like to have the uniformity or whatever. But if you want to wing it and do your own, do it, because that would be super fun too. I'm gonna actually just come right over here. This will be a little bit more like a fall leaf, but you could do them red, like this reminds me of the Canadian leaves. Are those maples? I don't even know. See, that's how clueless I am when it comes to, and just any fine line. This is a Sharpie. It's, what is this? Ultra fine point, whatever that is. But you can use micron, whatever. I just grabbed this one. It was right here next to me, so I'm clearly unable to trace a stencil. Feel free to fast forward. This may be torturous. And then I'll get a couple cut out, and then we'll come back and like doodle them, decorate them, whatever. You can paint on them, like use acrylic paints to make designs. Mark making is essentially all we're going to be doing to them. So I kind of like this kind of ginkgo leaf thing. I think I might do it colorful. And I know the ginkgo leaves aren't necessarily colorful, but... Or not ginkgo. These aren't ginkgo. Ginkgo is that other one. This is eucalyptus. These are... This thing right here is ginkgo. That one that looks like a fan. Words. You know, words. But yeah, I just think these would be super fun. And yes, these are not attached. So when you cut them out, you can do one of two things. You can draw your stem in like right now with these, or if you want your stem a different color, you can make it a different color too. But I think I'm going to draw it right now with this, because when I cut it out, I'm going to cut it all out as one piece instead of having to piece it back together. But that's totally your choice. You do it how you want to do it. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Let's do a mushy mesh. And I did these separate as well, same as the acorn, because I thought it might be fun to do the bases maybe a little bit lighter in color, and then you could do something more interesting for the top. I just think they'll show up a little better that way. Kind of like those little red mushrooms that have almost a white base, but then the top of the mushroom is brighter. That's kind of what I was thinking of, but you know, you can do it however you want. This would be another fun project to do, like if you were watching a movie, if you're like I am and can't just sit there and watch a movie. You could do your background pages and then just sit and draw these out and doodle all over them and then cut them out. That would be a great TV watching project. And then you would have fabulous little doodly whatevers, mushrooms, leaves, all that good stuff to make, you know, for fodder, for collage, or just to put in your book. I think they would just look really neat, like with this watercolor forest digital, just to put on the pages or on the ephemera. I think they're fun. Don't want that. See, the realist brain can't do it. You would think I'd be better at that since I'm an artist, but I always like things to look sort of real. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. There are things that we'll just make that part of one of the doodles that doesn't bother me. And a lot of times, like once I see things like this done in crazy colors or something, I love it. So I don't know why my brain always goes, nope, that's not the right color. Not that this is the right color either, but weird. I'll do these. Let's do these. We're going to do these leaves blue and purple. And phooey to anybody who doesn't like it. I mean, that's the whole point of this, right? Is to make them fun. And then I'll pause and get these cut out, and then come back and we'll do other stuff with them. So you can kind of see what I have in mind. Did I get everybody? I think. Oh, I didn't get this leaf. We're going to make this leaf pinks. I'm embracing it now. Oopsie. I wiggled my stencil. Or pushed too hard on the edge, actually, is what I did. All right, it's savable. So maybe I will just kind of doodle them, and then we'll cut them out. How does that sound? And you can make, like, double line them. And you know, my hand is not steady, so that's just part of the deal with it. Oh, you know what we could do too? You could also use like colorful fine liners. Would be fun. But doodle however you want in these. It's just meant to be like relaxing, which I find watercolor very relaxing, and then doing this kind of repetitive doodling can also be relaxing. Can you guys see? I'm almost off, huh? You could also stamp on them. So what I would probably do if I was going to stamp on them is cut them out first and then stamp on them. Just because maybe that way, you know, when it goes off the edge or anything like that, you're not getting it on some of the paper that you might want to use for something else. If you're not caring, like you've filled up your whole piece of paper or whatever, then obviously you can do it right then. But just so that it stays like that. Like I might take, where is it? I moved everything out of the way to do a video short, and then I can't find anything. Because the angle is different with the shorts than it is with the regular ones. The direction is portrait instead of landscape, so it just makes my life difficult. I'm going to just do 3 in here just for why not sake. And then you could do like the little sketchy whatever, 5, 7, 9, just scribblies and things. See, now this is a good example. I'm going to use this, but I'm just going to try to get ink on a little bit of it. And be careful stamping because I don't want to get all that down there. But it makes a cool mark, so I like that. I might go ahead and do it on the lid, or the cap. And then when you cut them out, you can cut them right up next to it, or you can leave the, what do you call it, like an edge around it. These are pretty simple shapes, so I'm thinking cutting them out entirely would be, you know, easy enough to do. So don't worry when you go out of the lines because they're going to get cut out, is what I'm trying to say. If words would ever come. And I was hoping by today, I ordered some fine line Posca pins. I think that's how you say it. And I was really hoping that they would be here, but they aren't. So I have some other gel pens, but sometimes they don't like drawing on watercolor, which seems to be the case with a lot of pens. The Sharpies do work. You just never know. Well, I think it's the textured paper too. The really textured paper of the cold press watercolor paper is pretty tricky to get anything to draw consistently on. So, yeah, there's that. I know, I like my little circly, swirly things. That is one problem. That is something I do need to do, is just draw out a bunch of things, because when I start doing videos, I can't think of what to draw. So it would be smart to have some things in mind before you start this, if you see what I'm saying. But you can doodle anything. And if you're one of those people that could just doodle for days, you could just have a load of fun doing this. Let me see if I can get my white to work at all. My daughter gave me these, and they're really nice pens. It's just sometimes they don't want to. And you could also use I'm just going to do a, yeah, see when you write right, it doesn't work so good. I don't know what I was going to say. But that looks cool. Those worked. Dots work. I don't know about much else. No, I can't get the dot to work either. Obviously on the darker colors, the white is going to show up better than it does on the light colors, which makes perfect sense. But again, you could use colored markers and things as well. I don't know if this one will work. I can't think of anything to do, I'm telling you. Yeah, see this one just, it's a galaxy marker and it says paint like ink for dark and light paper, but it just doesn't do a whole lot. Well, and it's not very fine lined either, which makes it difficult. So was not impressed with that one. This one's working good today, so I guess we'll just go with it. Sometimes they surprise me and do what they're supposed to do. If you just want to go on black paper, these are fantastic. Something about the texture of watercolor and like the oxide inks that these kind of pens do not love. It's like it builds up on them or something. It's weird. Somebody might know more about that and be like, yeah, ding dong, it's because. I just don't know. So all I know is sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. See, that one came out great. So anyway, the Posca pens I think will be better for that. That is not making me happy. I don't want to use that either. Stick with this. I might go ahead and do some stamps since those aren't working. And also so you can see some stamps. These are from Stampin' Up! From 20 years ago, 25 years ago, so I apologize because you're probably not going to be able to find them, obviously. But if you go onto like Amazon and just say Mark making stamps or whatever, you'll probably get all kinds of things come up. So I'll just kind of put that there and not worry a whole lot. And that guy's got some dots, and I like that. This piece is over here. I'm just gonna kind of do like that because I don't want it like perfectly even on there. Maybe if I go around these a little bit. It doesn't want to draw around that either. Nothing wants to work. Seriously. I think I'm trying to kind of just ignore the white because it didn't work well. I used to do posters for our church. We had a bowling competition every year. And I would do posters. And another thing that I find very annoying is that posters make Sharpies not work. Which is interesting. Hold on just a minute. Okay, I am back. Sorry, I heard a sound downstairs. Do you guys ever do that? And then you get yourself all freaked out? Why? So anyhow, I did go ahead and cut out a couple. We'll keep playing around, but just to see what they're going to kind of look like. And so I'm going to glue this together. And I might add more to this. I don't know yet. But anyhow, I love it. I love it. And I was thinking these would even be kind of fun as little gourds. You could, before you cut them out, draw a little like stem on it. It'd be cute. So then that just can get glued together. The other cool thing is you could turn the top of this mushroom here. I'm going to show you really quick. This way. You could turn it this way. And then you'd have different directional mushrooms, if you see what I'm saying. Like, they would all look different, even though it's essentially the same. Well, not just essentially, it is the same top. So anyhow, there's that. And I did it kind of at a slant, but I cut out this leaf. And I thought what might be fun with these to do, my small, you could even, I know I'm going to knock out my little white dots, but come in and punch holes for those. And then that way, whatever you lay it on top of, like orange, you'll be able to see those little holes. So I thought that would be cool. So yeah, just like make yourself a watercolor piece of paper, or like I said, if you don't feel like or you don't have watercolors or whatever, but you bought my digital, or any digital that you have that maybe is sort of like just a background of watercolor, or just interesting, whatever color, then you can just cut yourself out some leaves and mushrooms and doodle away and make them really cool looking. Because like I said, you don't have to have this or watercolor paper. You could use any kind of design paper, is what I'm saying. And then this is really cool. So you can make them grungy looking. You could make them, you know, pink and purple. You could do anything with them. They're just super cute. I love that. You could even take these little dots that you popped out of one and glue them on another one. If I could get my hands to work. I don't think that was one from this watercolor. I would prefer to have the watercolor ones. And these ones are pink, so they kind of show up good. So yeah, just play and like have a load of fun, because that's fun. All right, what if we, hold on now. I'm gonna get some of these brighter colors. Let's do this kind of magenta or whatever you would call this. Maybe a blue. If I get, see, you don't want to waste any of this paper, because, see, this is why. This is why we keep all those ridiculous scraps and all of that. And although it seems ridiculous, see? Do you see what happens? Let's do a blue one. Love that. Gonna glue those on. I know it seems crazy, these little pink dots on here, but I kind of like it. Sorry, the shaky hand thing cannot be helped. You know what I gotta get is my little tweezers. Believe me, I would love to not have the shaky hand problem. I did not have that. It's just recent, last few years, and it's killing me. Tweezers do help. Still not perfect, because I still have the shaky thing happening, but it does make it a little bit easier. I love these. Sorry, yes, I am very easily entertained, if you have not figured that out yet. Very easily entertained. That's probably a good thing though, right? I'm not out looking for trouble that way. Okay. See, those are fun, you guys. I hope you guys try this because that is too much fun. Okay, let's cut out, or let's doodle on another couple. I'm gonna get my markers. These are alcohol markers. And they're from Arteza, and this one is olive. They are double-sided. They have a fat end and a small end, small-ish end. I don't know that I would really call it small, but they work great on the watercolor because they you know, go over the top nicely. It's not hard to get them to work. That one can go all the way around. Stop. Edges are always interesting. Okay. This one is coral, which is a little bit more pinky, but we're just gonna go with it. It's probably fine, as my son would say. Pumpkin orange. I'm not sure what I want to do with this, but like I said, I really need to go. I'm just going to do some kind of weird dotty lines. You could use some other stencils you have, or like I said, the stamps worked great on that last one. So that's always a possibility. We always love the little dotty dots. Okay, like it. I'm gonna kind of just go around it a little bit, like a second go around. A lot of this can be cut off if I decide that I don't like it. I kind of did do just a little border around when I cut the other ones out, and I'll show you in just a second. Thinking now, so concentrating, whatever. And you can see this is nowhere near perfect because I can't, even if I wanted to. Do a few more just solid dots. Sorry, my belt is squeaking on the, because I'm leaning on the table. Okay, so what I did with these is there's barely a little edge around that. Barely. But you can leave more if you like, or, you know, if you decide that you want to draw them out, trace them out, use a stencil, whatever, on the white paper, the paper before you watercolor it, and then watercolor inside of each little part. You can do it that way too, and a lot of people that I see, that's the way I think it must be done, because there's white around the edge. So I think that's the only way that you could do that. Oh, I was going to show you how I'm going to cut this one out, and I'm sure you deduced from what I said, but I just want to make sure that nobody's like, what in the world was she talking about when she said that? So what I'm going to do with this one is kind of come up And it's obviously going to have a little bit more. And what we can even do, if it makes it easier for you, is draw out some, like, you know, these little guys, stems. Is that what they're called? I'm a genius, right? And then that way it'll be even easier, or make more sense anyway. You just kind of make that all one sort of thing there. So then you're just going to fussy cut it like you would any flowery whatever thing that you make. Okay, I'll finish cutting this and then I'll show you. Okay, I'm back again. This is super cool. I love that. Don't you think that would be so fun in the watercolor journal? Okay, so on our little one that I messed up on, we did not, I did. You can just do something like that. Like make some more lines. Make some squiggly lines, however. And that one, I don't think I want to even do any doodling on, which is also something. You don't have to doodle on them at all. You can just cut them out. And I think they'll make really cool decorations on ephemera or like just on a page. We could do this one just sort of like actually a leaf would be. Take it down a little bit further. Maybe do a few dots. There's a few there from the when I splattered the black, but they, you know, kind of went away. You can see them better down there. I'll bring it up so you can see it better. Okay. So even that's like simple. Oh, I did some little swirls on those dots that we punched out. The fun part about that is the dimensionality. I think that's fun. I cut the top of that out, but I'm not really worried about it right now. I want to get the journal. This is the page I was trying to tell you guys about earlier. But see, well, obviously it's not going to really work on one of these pages necessarily, but if you had a more moderately decorated page, or maybe like the hummingbird wasn't there, see, something like that would be kind of fun. Or on a different color, it would really pop out. But I just think I mean, it's just real cool on the colors. So anyhow, that was the plan, and obviously I haven't covered any more pages or anything, but we will get there, and I think these would be very fun to have just wherever on a page. Like you could even do it on a side little part like that. It would be fun. So yeah, I hope you guys make some of those. I hope you enjoy it, and I have to apologize for my Monday video. Today's Monday for me, but I just like deleted 2 of the clips, the front one and the back one apparently. I thought I had everything, and I try to delete as I go along because just storage space on my iPad and everything. So anyhow, I apologize for that. It was a little discombobulated, but I hope you at least got the gist and got the prompts. So that's the important part. All right, guys, thank you for your kindness, and thank you, as always, for liking and subscribing and commenting. I really do appreciate it, and I love you guys. We'll chat soon. Bye now.